This is day 5 of foods you may want to consider adding into your diet. Today we're going to be talking about mushrooms.
Let's talk about why you should be sunning your mushrooms. Mushrooms contain a considerable amount of vitamin D. And fascinatingly, one study done in Germany demonstrated that if you expose mushrooms to midday, midsummer sun, for 15 minutes, you can double the vitamin D, and if you expose them for 60 minutes, you can more than triple it. And if you slice the mushrooms first, providing a higher surface area to be exposed to the sun, you get greater increases in vitamin D. An even more efficient and likely more practical way to increase the vitamin D content of your mushrooms is exposing them to UV radiation via UV fluorescent lamps, in which they can get up to astonishingly high amounts of vitamin D, up to 320 micrograms per 100 grams fresh weight. And given the RDA for vitamin D is only about 15 micrograms, both sun-exposed mushrooms and UV radiation-exposed mushrooms have the capacity to contribute a significant amount of vitamin D. It appears that the UVB radiation between 280 and 315 nanometers is the most effective for increasing the vitamin D content of your mushrooms. It also appears like the gills of the mushroom have a greater capacity to produce vitamin D than the cap or the stalk. Therefore, you would likely want to consume as much of the mushroom as possible, including the interesting pieces. And it appears that whole oyster mushrooms generate twice the amount of vitamin D than shiitake mushrooms. However, both mushrooms do appear to increase their vitamin D content when exposed to UV radiation from the sun or from a lamp. And the USDA reports that mushrooms have a whopping 0% of your RDA for vitamin D. Wait, what? Okay, so as you can see in all of these slides, mushrooms contain vitamin D2. They also produce vitamin D3 and vitamin D4, but to a much more minor extent. Mushrooms contain ergosterol, which when exposed to UV radiation is converted into ergocalciferol, also known as vitamin D2. Vitamin D2 and vitamin D3 use the same enzymes in the liver and the kidneys to be converted into 1,25-dihydroxyvitamin D2 and vitamin D3, the biologically active forms, both of which appear to have equal affinity to the vitamin D receptor, indicating that these forms may actually be comparable, if not identical, in terms of their biological impact. There are mixed studies about the impact of vitamin D2 versus vitamin D3 for increasing the biologically active forms of vitamin D. Some studies indicate that vitamin D2 for mushrooms is just as effective as vitamin D2 or D3 in supplement form. However, other studies indicate that vitamin D3 is more effective than vitamin D2, whether from a supplement or from your mushrooms, for increasing the biologically active forms of vitamin D. However, even if vitamin D2 is not as effective as vitamin D3, it also appears that vitamin D2 and vitamin D3 have similar and different effects within the body, indicating the ingestion of both of these forms of vitamin D may maximize the benefits that you derive. Therefore, the next time that you buy mushrooms, you could consider exposing them to UVB radiation. With that being said, if you would like an individualized approach to your nutrition and lifestyle to optimize your health, energy, and body composition, send me a DM to sign up for coaching.